I'm Heat Miser. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We made it to Friday. I don't believe it. Do you? I barely do. But anyway, we got through our first week of the Christmas season, our first full week of the Christmas season, I should say. And we have been just rolling right along with, of course, our deep dive, our medium depth dive into Unearthed Arcana, which we're going to continue tonight at 9 o'clock. We've got some Let's Play Classic Gamma World happening. We got a whole crowd of post-apocalypse folks ready to join in on our Let's Play. Oh, and by the way, you ask yourselves, who am I? I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver. That's me, bringing you old school goodness five nights a week. Who else does this? Who else? Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question out there in audience land. Who does a 5-night-a-week, multi-hour a night live stream about classic tabletop role-playing games? Who does it? Me. And nobody else. So, and if this is the kind of content you like, if you're just stopping by for the first time, maybe you came from YouTube, maybe you popped over from Facebook, maybe you just you came here from Twitter. If this is your first time, please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and tell us what you like about it down in the comments, because that really helps. And if you want to support the show, you can become a patron, patreon.com. You can support me on Subscribestar. You can do a PayPal Direct, or you can buy me a coffee. But just seeing you here makes me happy. Other things that make me happy are really cool advent calendars. And guess what? We've got one of those tonight, too. We've got one of those tonight, too. Oh, Luther. Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Luther, Tonka, Robert Phillips. Who else is out there? Tommy Dye. What color? But we still have this lovely Do Dragao Advent calendar of Christmas theme. Well, some of the dice are Christmas theme. Some of the dice are Christmas theme. But we've got it right here. And we're going to look at day 9 here in just a minute. So I've been deciding on content for 2023, which sounds like, oh, 2023, that's a profound distance in the future. No, it's not. That's like week after week after week after next. Okay? It is not that far away to new stuff you guys are going to be getting. So there's going to be a couple of videos a week. Tales of Tabletop Triumph. No doom and gloom and ugliness here. No, sir. I am Captain Positivity. I'm going to take your stories, your tales of glory from around your tabletops, and I will exalt them, but those will be pre-recorded videos. Also pre-recorded, I think there's maybe a desire out there amongst you crazy kids to see me do some painting. not live streams, but I think maybe I can upload some painting videos and just me chilling out, or maybe do it as a live stream, just like a Saturday evening thing, just a very chill, mellow thing. I don't know how I'm going to do that exactly, precisely. We're going to have outro credits, which I know that's not a big deal. That's not like, oh, well, something, but I feel like when it just goes off like that, it's not really it's just so sudden. And I have a beautiful piece of music written and donated to the show by one Bob Antone. Now, last summer, not this past summer, or maybe it was last fall, maybe it was early in the year, I can't remember. Bob Antone, who is a musician in the band Tinkham Road, was on here, and we talked about myths and mythology and cryptids and matters both temporal and physical, and it was a lot of fun. Well, Bob donated a song called Owl Bear that I have been meaning to use in the show somehow, and that's going to happen in 2023. So there's a thing that's going on. So all of that, look for that. On the third day, look to the east with the rising of the sun. And that's what'll happen. So all that's coming up in just a few weeks. Something that's coming a little bit sooner than that, is, guys, I got to tell you, the closer we get to Christmas, the more likely I am to just want to dip out. A little bit of Bailey's, a little bit of eggnog over ice, some Robert Goulet on the turntable. Just put my feet up and look at the lights twinkle on the tree, so on and etc. But to fill that time, I'm digging deep into the gold mine. Well, the pits. I'll dig deep into the mine and you guys will get the shaft. I am going to harvest some early stuff from 2020 for episodes, and I don't just mean I'm going to go back and watch stuff and redo the videos. My first interviews with Jim Ward, interviews with Jim Ward, with Darlene, the artist Darlene, which was an absolutely amazing experience. I loved talking to her, and I think you guys are going to want to hear that. Crimson does not consent to getting my shaft. It's all part of the service package. Do you want to be serviced by the package? Anyway, moving right along. So yes, interviews with all these folks. Now, one thing I can tell you, the value add is the quality is terrible. I was doing this with a webcam and my smiling face, and that's about it. I had the blue snowball mic here, like on its tripod on the desk. But that's, and I think I may have been using my headphones too. Luther says that was creepy, very creepy. What can I tell you, bud? I'm the nightmare before Christmas. But anyhow, and by the way, welcome, Crimson. Good to see you, buddy. I know Crimson from the Alabama Sports Discord I'm on. It's nice to see a little cross-pollination happening. Well, I don't know if he's Hungarian, but, if you had a Hungarian vampire who attacked him, maybe, I don't know. Crimson says, just want my thoughts on Stetson Bennett as a result of someone badly describing Johnny Manziel to an alien who is Stetson Bennett the result? Okay, so Stetson Bennett's a college quarterback. I think that's a valid theory, Crimson. Crimson's probably missing the fact that we didn't do a sports talk live show this past Thursday. Good evening, Vinny. Vincent, who is not a Bartolo. It says right there in his name, guys. Don't call him a Bartolo. He's not a Bartolo. But anyway, so there's a lot of good stuff coming up in just a few weeks. But before then, we're going to have these grand videos. And they're grand because of the people I'm interviewing, not because of the tech and everything. You might cringe a little at the quality. Maybe don't watch it. Maybe just listen to it. So, and to think you used to like me. Well, what can I tell you? It's a condition that I have. So that's all coming up. But what's coming up right now is the Advent dice calendar. So let's take a look at the next day we've got day 9. Now, as I said, I have only opened these insofar as I trimmed them open to make it a little bit easier to get inside. So this is as much a surprise to me as it is to you guys. So we're going to see what dice we got in there. We're going to go to the tabletop cam. I'm just going to adjust that down a little bit. Oh, by the way, big extra thanks to those of you who commented on the lighting situation last night. I will be making the effort to get some stuff. We need an Advent mini color. We absolutely do. James, my brain always wants to say Jane Seymour. If you were Jane Seymour, I would have you on. I'd just be like, Anyway, so yes, I will be adjusting the lights accordingly here. So let's take a look. Let's go to what I call the tabletop view, and we will take a look at what is in there. Let's see if I can do that. So that says, your phone drowns in a soup, roll for panic. And what we have is another holiday-themed dice. This one is a holiday-themed D10. It's like the D20, the D3, and the D4 that we've opened up. So it's kind of pepperminty looking. It's got deer antlers. Of course, it's got reindeer for the double aughts pip and little stars. And of course, it's a lovely shade of crimson and white. Even Santa Claus knows what's good. Luther says, Bill, idea. How about showing my top 10 minis that I have on my shelf to the left of me? Goodness gracious. I could do those things. Some of them I've painted. Some of them my wife has painted. Some of them were painted by other folks. And yes, I can do that. That can happen in 2023. Orcus versus Demogorgon. Wow, that's a tough call. Because, there's initiative. They can't really surprise each other. I would think right off the bat they would be gating stuff in, but I kind of got to lean towards Orcus because Orcus can animate dead. And as the demons are dropping around him, Orcus can be raising up essentially demon zombies to slowly batter Demogorgon to death. That is my hot take on Orcus versus Demogorgon. He does, he's got the wand of Orcus, which is all kinds of bad news. All kinds of bad news. So that is the Advent dice. And of course, as I said, we are going to be going to play some Gamma World at 9:00, so we don't have too long to dally in Unearthed Arcana. We're going to look at real quick tonight. We've gotten out of what I consider the bad neighborhoods of Unearthed Arcana. Those really, quite frankly, Gary, forgive me, poorly thought out character options. What we're going to look at is the magic items are okay. All right, the magic items are okay. They're not tweaked too bad. The spells are all right. But the spell books, I want to look at spell books because it's a very interesting thing. So let's take a look at this. Magic user spell books, and I think this can be a good, fun addition to the game. I used this once upon a time, and I honestly didn't think to when this campaign started, so it almost be a little late. I do kind of use aspects of it in that player characters' spell books can be destroyed or lost or stolen. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're back to Unearthed Arcana, and we're going to share some stuff here. Okay, I'm going to add that to screen. So magic user spell books. Now this works for illusionists as well as magic users, which actually is welcome information. It is very welcome information because illusionist spell books are left a little on the vague side if you don't dip into here. So most of the information in this section applies equally to spell books for illusionists as well as for magic users. See the following section on illusionist spell books for those areas where particular differences exist. When a magic user completes his or her apprenticeship, it is assumed that he or she has one or possibly two spell books. A book of first level spells will certainly be possessed, and there might be a book of cantrips as well. The latter depends on the options of both the DM and the concerned player. The following applies to all spell books. Types of spellbooks. Standard spellbook, which contain up to 36 cantrips, up to 24 first through third level spells, up to 16 spells of 4th through 6, or up to 8 of 7th through 9th. Now, these are big volumes, okay? These types of spell books, if you kind of picture this in your mind's eye, like a big tome, there are pages where the spellcaster, maybe they spilled ink, maybe they didn't write things properly, there's doodles in the corner, there's, just different equations, a Wordle puzzle or something like that. That sits on the plinth, the pedestal, or maybe it has dust of disappearance sprinkled on it and it's slid under the bed of your mage's room in the inn, but you don't want that to just potentially get destroyed. So you have your standard spellbook or your study spellbook, but then also there are traveling books, each of which contains at most 1/4 of the number of spells possible to be contained in a standard spellbook. Either 9 cantrips, 6 spells of 1st, 2nd, and or 3rd, 4 spells of 4th, 5th, and or 6th, or 2 spells of 7th, 8th, and or 9th. So there's limited information in those spellbooks. So if you're doing the whole, we're going on a long journey, I want smaller spell books, this is the rules. A standard spellbook costs 1,000 GP for material plus an additional 100 GP per spell level for each spell contained therein. For this determination and all other similar ones, consider cantrips as first level spells. The cost of a new magic user or illusionist spellbook, illusionist initial book or books is assumed to be borne by the new spellcaster's former master. So the fledgling spellcaster will have 1 or 2 spell books at no cost to him or her. Books which are prepared later in a magic user's career, having higher spell level capacity than beginning books, are not supplied by the character's master, but must be composed by the character in question as part of his or her training when the spellcaster is trying to rise to a higher experience level. Wow, that is a lot. Let us continue. This composition takes 4 to 7 weeks for each new standard book. The book is composed during and after the time when other training exercises are taking place. These same costs and prices apply when such a book is being manufactured and composed. Any standard spell book requires a 1,000 GP outlay. For materials, plus 100 gold pieces per level for each new spell entered within the book, payable when a magic user adds a new spell to his or her repertoire. Entering a first level spell costs 100 gold pieces, a second level spell 200, etc. A traveling spell book costs 500 pieces for materials. The cost of each spell is the same as the cost for entering a spell in a standard book. All traveling spell books must be fabricated by the magic user or otherwise discovered as treasure by the magic user or his or her associates. A player character cannot automatically possess a traveling spell book at the beginning of his or her career. So unless you want to take it with you, the big giant grimoire, you've got to buy these. So, leave us continue. Physical aspects of standard books. A standard spell book is 16 by 12 by 6. That's thick. The DM has leeway to reduce or enlarge its general size, though nothing smaller than 12 by 12 by 6 inches or larger than 18 by 12 by 9 is recommended. The weight of a standard book is 150 gold pieces. That's 15 pounds, boys and girls, adjusted upward or downward for varying sizes. The encumbrance is the equivalent of 3 times its weight, 450 gold pieces or 45 pounds, although it is correct to assume that a volume will fit within an otherwise empty backpack or large sack. Wow. The cover of a standard book is typically heavy leather, dragon hide, or something similar, inlaid with metal so as to provide both extra durability and a means to close and secure the book. Vellum pages are sewn together and secured to a fine, supple leather spine backing. Pages are secured additionally by fine leather front and back pieces. It is also usual for such a tome to have vellum stubs at intervals for insertion of additional pages, although this by no means allows for any increase or change in the number and type of spells the book can contain. Notwithstanding any special protections placed thereon, a standard spellbook has a saving throw equal to that of leather or book, and with +2 to dice rolls made to save against acid, fireball, disintegration, and lightning attacks. Now, I want to pause here for a minute. Okay, let's go on. No, I want to pause here for a minute. The cost to write a spell is the expenditure of a write's worth of ink, which if you look in the Dungeon Master's Guide regarding magical inks, we kind of go from there. So it asks the question. It does not beg the question. It asks the question. It asks the question, does this supersede that simple cost? And I would say, depending on how you as a DM are feeling about the magical ink cost, you can either set that aside and say it's as per this, or this only applies if you are having spells put in the spell book. For example, if your character does not know write, they're using this, like I'm going to, Joe's Magic Emporium, and there's a 6th level magic user there, and he's going to write a spell. As there is danger in each spell possibly injuring him, you want him to put wish in that book. That's 900 gold pieces, because that could be up to 36 points of damage if he bodges that. What's happening, Connect? Which I know who you are, but so Dungeon Minister, your boys call you Papa, which is like being the Pope at home. But are you the Pope from that charming comedy in the mid '80s starring Tom Conti, or are you the Pope from that TV show, The Young Pope, that was on HBO? But anyway, so physical aspects of traveling spell books, physical aspects of traveling Wilburys. You're the young Frankenstein. I like it. Gene Wilder is a pope. It could have worked. A traveling spell book is 12 inches tall, 6 inches wide, and 1 inch thick. 9 by 9 by 1 is also a good working size. The weight of such a book is 30 gold pieces, 3 pounds, and encumbrance roughly 60, 6 pounds. 5 such books will fit in a backpack, twice that number in a large sack. The cover of a traveling spell book is a strong, supple leather, such as that from a giant cobra. So I presume he means the snake and not the malt liquor. The hand-sewn leaves of parchment are carefully secured to a fine leather backing and glued to the spine. The whole is further secured by front and back pieces of vellum. A small lock or leather ties are typically used to secure the whole. Pages are very thin and fragile, so great care must be taken to protect the book when it is in use. And it has a saving throw equal to that of leather or book against certain forms of attack. A standard spell book has an experience point value of 500 points per spell level contained therein, again, considering cantrips as first level spells, and a gold piece sale value of 1,000 per spell level applies to all spells, including cantrips. As with any other magical items acquired, spell books must either be sold immediately or else the XP value taken. This holds true regardless of whether or not any tome is eventually sold. Thus, a spell book cannot be kept while a particular spell or spells are transcribed, and then the work sold for the gold piece sale value, and the proceeds taken towards experience points. Casting directly from spellbooks, which I always like this option, and I left it open for my players when I used the heavy spellbook rules here, but no one ever undertook it. In extremis, the DM may allow a magic user to cast a spell directly from any sort of spellbook, just as if the book were a scroll. The book must be of appropriate sort so that the spell matches the profession of the caster, i.e. magic user spell, magic user spellbook. The caster must be able to know and use the spell in question. So a 3rd level magic user couldn't cast a 9th level spell. Note that in this regard, reading directly from a spell book differs from the use of scroll spells. Direct casting a spell from a book automatically destroys that spell. There's a 1% chance per level of the spell that the spells immediately preceding and following the spell book will likewise be destroyed. There's an additional 1% chance that the casting of the spell directly from a spell book will destroy the entire book. A permanency spell, for instance, would not prevent the spell from disappearing when cast in this manner. Even though writing might remain on the page, that writing will no longer be magical in nature. Very deep, very like Carlos Castaneda-esque here. The power is not merely in that you know it, but it imbues from the book into the body of the spellcaster. It is a spiritual, a psychological, a psychotropic power up coming right out of the book. These strictures apply whether a spellcaster is using his or her personal book or the book of another. Read magic is required for one magic user to read another magic user's spell book, and a magic user can learn a spell by reading it from another book. This process requires 2 to 8 hours of study per level of the spell, at which time the spell is learned and thereby immediately usable by the magic user who did the studying. Now, this creates interesting options. I heard that in the Mission Impossible voice there, Luther. Should you choose to accept this spell book will destruct in 4, 3, 2. But no, I think, okay. Imagine like a mid-level magic user who just buys a traveling spell book and fills it with low-level spells. They spend their money building a spell book that can be used like a rifle magazine. And Gary's not clear if another spell can be written on that page. I would say no. Now, here's some clarification on illusionist spells that I think were well needed. Illusionists begin with a limited book of spells, just as do regular magic users. The spells available are divided into 3 groups. One from each group will be known by the beginning illusionist. The illusionist always has read illusionist magic. Yeah, that's a new one. Play Wizard Magazine, Girls of Greyhawk. Sounds like something you could gin up with one of those AI programs, you know? The spells are available and divided into 3 groups. One from each group will be known. They always get read illusionists. So you do the same thing, guys. You do the same thing for magic user. You get offensive, defensive, miscellaneous, and read illusionist magic. So let's see what our burgeoning young illusionist might get. So let's start with an offensive spell. 3, light. Cast it right into a monster's eye. Defensive spell. Gaze reflection, another 3. That's a little unbalanced. Miscellaneous spells. 5, choose. So we can choose one. So I'm going to roll a D4 again to choose because I'm just like that. Detect invisibility for our miscellaneous. Use up traveling spellbook like scrolls. Yeah, I mean, it's expensive, but if a first level magic user or even a second level magic user wants more utility and you're willing to spend, I mean, it's 500 for the book and 100 for each. Get 3, 4, 5, 600 gold and inscribe all sleep spells and just stand there in combat. Choom. Pow. So, spells from this work were added to the list of initial spells because of the limited number of illusionist spells originally given in the player's handbook. You will note this has not been done for magic users of the original sort, since that class already has a sufficient number of spells to select from. And there are illusionist cantrips, and there's how to acquire them. They have available to them all the cantrips that can be learned and employed by regular magic users, although an illusionist capacity for such minor magics is different in each category from that of a regular magic user. See the list that follows. In addition, illusionists can learn and employ from 5 to 8 minor illusion cantrips, none of which are available to regular magic users. So Gary's kind of beefing up the magic user. Then I have to decide what to do with the sleeping enemies. Not much decision there. Purge. Except where otherwise indicated, all properties pertaining to magic user cantrips likewise applies to those employed by the illusionist class. The number of magic user cantrips available to illusionists in each category is as follows. Useful cantrips, 1 per point of intelligence up to intelligence -3. An illusionist with an intelligence of 18 can choose 15 useful cantrips from the magic user list. Reversed, 2 to 5. Ledger domain, 3 to 6. Person affecting, 2 to 5. Personal, 2 to 5. Haunting, 5 to 8. Haunting sound. Got a paladin in the party, then it's problematic. It's not really. You know? You tie them up, you sprinkle them with some holy water, you wake them up, you ask them if they want to repent of their evil, and if they say yes, you say, then you will be blessed. And then you gank them before they can backslide. It's that simple. So illusionist spell books, physically, they're roughly the same as magic users. Standard ones store either 24 spells of first or second, 16 of third or fourth, 8 of fifth, sixth, or seventh. If first level magic user spells are known and used by the illusionist, he or she must have a new spell book just for such spells. This tome is essentially a standard work for first level. Traveling spell books hold 6 of first or second, 4 of third or fourth, but 2 of fifth, sixth, or seventh. I like the cantrips. I don't think there's anything game-breaking about them. For additional security, illusionists may opt to do their spell books by using illusory script, which would only be recognizable as such by another illusionist. A magic user may not learn a spell from an illusionist spell book and vice versa, even if the illusionist spell in question is the same in name and perhaps other respects as a magic user spell. The magical forces released by the casting of namesake spells are similar to one another, but the way in which that magic is triggered differs from class to class. Now, in the yes, they were, Vinny. We have talked about them. Anyway, to move on. Cost of magic user illusionist spell casting. While the cost of having a cleric cast needed spells is reasonably well detailed in the Dungeon Master's Guide, the cost of magic user or illusionist spell casting was neglected. Rather than giving an extensive list of spells and costs, why? We should have gotten that. The following set of guidelines is provided to enable the DM to determine a reasonable fee for any spell. Basic cost is 200 per spell level. Double the material components or material components of at least such value as substitutions is also part of the basic fee. Additional cost: failure to furnish the material components of a spell which has components of ordinary sort will incur a surcharge of 10% or 3 times the value of the components, whichever is greater. Failure to furnish any extraordinary components that may be needed brings a surcharge of 100% of the casting cost or 3 times the value of the components, whichever is greater. You want Cacodemon? You better bring a crushed up ruby of at least 5,000 gold. Otherwise, you're paying 15,000. Gygax, when the blooms betrayed him. Spells which age the caster will only be cast if a counter to such aging is awarded prior to spell casting, unless the amount of aging is insignificant to the caster. A young elf will not be overly concerned about aging 5 years, though a fee of 10 times normal might be charged. Magic item payment. A magic user or illusionist will generally accept some magic item in lieu of cash or like valuables. I don't have any water out here tonight. I'm dying. In such cases, the sale value of the item adjusted downward by the general reaction of the spellcaster to the individuals requesting his or her services is to be considered the base value of the item. The character and behavior of the NPC encountered will always be the purview of the DM. Such character or behavior will naturally often affect costs and fees. Hostile spellcasters. In general, a hostile spellcaster will either charge at least double normal fees, or else he or she will simply refuse to cast any spell whatsoever, unless possibly bribed to do so with some magic item. Hey, here's a Sphere of Annihilation. You want to cast a spell for me? No? Gee, that's a shame. Hold this, would you? Any spellcaster of good alignment is quite unlikely to cast any spell for a character of evil alignment in any event. Again, adjudication of such events is the realm of the DM. Spellcasting under duress. Use the rules in the Dungeon Master's Guide for all magic user and illusionist spellcasting under threat, magical influence, etc. You can't. You point a crossbow at the magic user's family or his head and tell him to identify something. Ain't going to work. It's touch on the nervous side. So now we commence spell explanation. Permanency is increased a little bit. In addition to personal use, the permanency spell can be used to make the following object, creature, or area effect spells lasting: Alarm, Deep Pockets, Dispel Magic, Enlarge, Fear, Force Cage, Gust of Wind, Invisibility, Magic Mouth, Preserve, Prismatic Sphere, Stinking Cloud, Wall of Fire, Web of Force, or Wall of Force, Web, Wind Wall. Note further, there's only a 5% chance of the spellcaster losing a constitution point if the permanency spell is cast on a non-living thing. However, when the spell is applied as a charge in a device, such as a ring of spell storing, the chance is 100. So if you're putting permanency into a scroll or a wand or a ring, you're gonna lose a point of con. That's why there are no wands of permanency. So yeah, there's some spell clarifications, cantrip clarifications, combat effects of darkness, which we'll get. You know what? Let's just jump straight into that rather than do something else and then wait. So combat effects of darkness, not combat effects of darkness. On many occasions, a situation will present itself where combat must be conducted in conditions of darkness or poor illumination. The effects of darkness on combat are as follows. If an opponent cannot be seen, then attacks against that opponent are as an invisible target, -4 to hit. If the opponent is only vaguely discernible, such as a faint blur or a darker shape that stands out against the background, then you're at -2. Combat is not affected by illumination or lack thereof in conditions of daylight or in light conditions such as those produced by most light-giving devices and spells, including the illumination of torches, lanterns, light spells, or continual light. In essence, the converse of all the above cases will hold true when considering creatures which function normally are at some relative advantage in conditions of darkness. For instance, see creatures with infravision. Creatures with infravision will still be able to see opponents in the absence of normal visible spectrum light. Creatures that are accustomed to operating in darkness will suffer vision penalties when attacking opponents in illuminated conditions. Descriptions of gray dwarfs, dark elves, and dark gnomes probably meant deep gnomes elsewhere in this volume. The effects of a fairy fire spell will be a benefit only when outlining opponents in poor lighting conditions, such as an area of a dungeon where the light only comes from softly glowing magic weapons, or in total darkness. In illumination similar to that of a torch or a light spell or anything stronger, the spell will function normally but will not contribute to the visibility of the target it encompasses. As in so many other cases, particularly those relating to combat, common sense must be the final determinant of whether or not an act is possible or whether a bonus or penalty to its chance of success should be applied. If a certain situation seems to warrant an exception to these rules, it is within the purview of the dungeon master to moderate the events accordingly. And in these cases, most of what's in the front half of an Arcana, I would moderate to not exist. Sorry, all you Cavalier players, just know. And then because I guess Gary wanted this to suddenly be like chivalry and sorcery or Harn, we have social class and rank. Social class and rank. The dungeon master should determine the social class of each character he or she has in the campaign. This is accomplished by use of the social class table given below. You will note that this table does not include any social or political information, but that guidelines of this sort are included in a reference to immediately following the table. This allows a DM to model social class distinction to the tenor of his or her individual milieu. Whoops. Excuse me. So you roll for you roll for your social class. Let's roll this. Yeah. Very trying to be like Traveler. I could probably roll the actual D10 instead of a D8. So 2, lower class. Bob the Fighter is lower class. Typical members of that class are freed slaves, peasants, tinkers, vagabonds, beggars, criminals, low-level thieves, low-level and mid-level assassins. For player characters, initial social status has no effect on starting money and equipment, with the exception of Cavaliers and Paladins. Once again, Cavaliers. And once again, putting Paladins under Cavaliers. We don't do that here. Yeah, what's lower than a vagabond? A corpse? Rules for starting golden equipment are detailed under the money heading in the player section of this book. The various occupations and status positions can be adjusted as required by the background of each Maelu. The positioning of non-humans is entirely dependent upon the individual Maelu. As a general rule, a human society would probably consider the non-humans as dwarves, elves, gnomes, halflings, half-elves, and half-orcs. You know what's worse than extensive backgrounds? Completely superfluous backgrounds. Agreed. See, we were doing so well with the stuff about magic and like, yeah, this is a little fiddly, but it's kind of interesting. And then we got into this. What's up, A-Wig? As a general rule, any character must have a social status of, at the lowest, one rank below that specified for his or her profession in the Maelu. For instance, using the system outlined above, a character embarking on a career as a fighter must have a social standing of no lower than middle lower class, and conversely, a character with a standing lower than that cannot hope to make his or her way in the fighter profession. Screw that. I am not doing that, Gary. And I recommend you players don't either. That's dumb. Don't do that. That's bad. And it just keeps going. Circumstances of birth. God, this is frustrating. It's like he knew the smallest fold of papers that could make a paperback at the Random House printing factories was 128 pages. So he was just filling stuff out. This is so 180 degrees around from the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook. And even deities and demigods. And rulings that are suggested in modules. So we have a birth table. We roll some dice to see where you stand in that. Well, let's see. Where was I in the birthing order? Strapped to a lab table. I'm just going to stop. So I got an 83. The seventh son. Vinny, he created Unearthed Arcana for as revenue to save TSR. Yeah, Damien, that's exactly precisely it. Lovely pick of the Demonomicon of Igwil there, though. That is from S4. That is Jeff Easley's work, and it is beautiful. So let's see. I'm the seventh son. I'm dirt poor. Let's roll for parental marital status, because you got us doing that, Gary. 93, unmarried. That makes sense. The child of the unmarried parents is typically one social class lower than the social class of the father. Well, there we go. Racial modifiers. Humans, no modifiers to dice rolls. Well, Bob's a human, so. I would never use this in a D&D game, and I don't recommend you do either. And here's random determination of treasures. I just take a breath, remind myself that this was made to save Dungeons and Dragons, or to save TSR, and we go from there. So do we have time? Let's dip a little bit into non-human deities. You know, most of the D&D horror stories that I hear about, I'm like, yeah, that DM was an a-hole. I don't care what edition you're talking about. You know, well, my character is a female elf, so you're having things done to you against your will right when we open the game. Bye. You know, that's crappy DMing. I don't care what edition of D&D you're playing, but you know, stories that start off the time my game master wouldn't respect my backstory. Don't do the extensive back. Now look, if your DM said, I want a huge extensive backstory. I want 2 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages of backstory. And he then just starts retconning stuff. Like, you know, Frodo's parents perished and he went to live with his uncle Bilbo. That's my part of my halfling story. Well, his parents are actually alive and he works in a factory in this place. Where is it, the Shire? Well, there aren't any factories in the Shire. Well, there are now. You know, that's pretty dickish. So just avoid the whole sticky problem. It shouldn't be a backstory. It should be a front story. The material in the following 13 pages written by Roger E. Moore. Bond, James Bond. Originally appeared in issues 58 through 63 of Dragon Magazine, it is reproduced here as an adjunct to non-human deities section of the Legends and Lore book, which was previously titled the Deities and Demigods Cyclopedia. Description of certain major deities mentioned in this text can be found in Legends and Lore. So by this time, the Blooms have ruined deities and demigods. So we have the gods of the dwarves. Gods of the dwarves. Which, you know what, we'll get into tomorrow, because it just occurred to me, we're almost at the top of the hour. Before we jump in, there's no Luther, there's no boobies. At this stage in TSR, the boobies were all gone. The last great book with boobies in it was Deities and Demigods. It was just all downhill after that. But before we jump in to some Gamma role play, which is coming up here in just a few minutes, there are those folks who have elected to support the show, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And now I would like to thank them from the top of my voice and say an extra special thank you to these financial supporters. Remember, if you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. Thank you to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damian X247, James F. Keck, William Smith, The Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob, Jeremy Rule, Boganora, Mikey Mank, Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, the DM's Council, and Baron Von Headbanger. Thank you all so very, very much for continuing to support the show. I appreciate it. When TSR removed the drugs and rock and roll from D&D, people jumped over to White Wolf. Yeah. Early TSR, thanks. I see what you did there. But it was, you know, it was unnecessary. People were grown-ups. People were absolutely grown-ups. Does Bogo also bedazzle? I don't think Bogo. I hope Bogo doesn't bedazzle. I genuinely hope Bogo does not bedazzle. So we'll be starting in a few minutes. We're waiting on folks to file in to the green room before we get them going. And by the way, in the interim, I would just like to give a shout out to a friend of my daughter's. I think I've got this right. Young man, I apologize if I messed this up. He is in Vancouver, BC. Hello to Tyler. Did I get that? Was it Tyler? I really hope it was Tyler. All right, Luther. I'll see you around. So we're going to get going here in just a few minutes. BOGO jorts. Move from jorts to diapers. I didn't do that. That wasn't a dungeon or a referee, a game master, an adventurer master, a lore master. That wasn't my decision. So we'll have a few people coming in late. D&D background music CDs. Now, I know there was, what was it, the first Quest album that had the Jeff Easley Dungeon Masters cover? And there's enough dungeon synth out there and so on that I can generally speaking put together. But I mean, when I have music going on at my table, it's usually Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath for AD&D sessions. Maybe Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. I'm just surprised that, well, think about it. Jorts or jean shorts. They were able to appease the Yexels by splitting them with them. Look, you just take the legs from like mid thigh down, and we'll take these. Conan movie soundtrack is awesome. I can't play a note of it for you if you've never heard it, but you can find the whole thing on YouTube. When I think it was in 1994, maybe 1992, when Varese Sarabande Records reissued it. It was the one that MCA released was literally almost like a sampler of the music. It wasn't like a full soundtrack. Like, for example, one of the best pieces on there that is not Anvil of Crom is called The Kitchen / The Orgy. And it's the bit where Conan and Valeria and Subutai sneak into Thulsa Doom's Mountain of Power. And there's the basically a reworking of Dies Irae playing, and there's Latin chanting, Halum nare id stasis. They're basically singing about making sacrifices into burning hell to Hephaestus. But of course, he's, audience isn't going to know this. But anyway, immediately after that, The Orgy starts, which is a piece written by Basil Polidorus's then teenage daughter. And it's a very fun, and it's got that going on. Well, just that part, the orgy is on the MCA vinyl and cassette release, but you get the whole thing including the Anvil of Crom reprise at the end in the full-blown Conan the Barbarian soundtrack that was released in again 94, 92, sometime around then. Yeah, Dune is interesting, but it peaks at the wrong times. No, I would use Big Trouble in Little China for cyberpunk. Yeah, that, some synthwave, some Front 242, some VNV Nation, stuff like that for cyberpunk. I mean, all of the film music authors created great. I mean, how much of John Williams stuff is kind of heavily influenced, shall we say, by Stravinsky? So we're just waiting on one more player here to get rolling. And as soon as they pop on. Oh, yes. Yes, he did. But you know what? He did it in such a way. I mean, what musicians don't pick the pockets of their forerunners, right? I mean, Mississippi Delta Blues is all over Led Zeppelin. I mean, every heavy metal band owes its existence to the work of Jimi Hendrix. So yep, we're just waiting on one other person. Blind Melon Chitlin. I have to say, though, that I have seen lately, and this has been kind of interesting. I've seen a jump in subscribers lately, and it's kind of nice. So thank you, everyone who's signed up recently. I really greatly appreciate it. And in fact, let's see. There. Whew, almost lost you guys. Let's take a look. Let's see what the current. It was 1411 earlier today. Let's see what it might be now. $14.12. Well, thank you, new subscriber. I don't get told anymore. YouTube stopped telling me who has subscribed via email. So that's up to you guys to tell me. So if you're out there and you just subscribed, thank you. And by the way, folks, I absolutely mean it. I will hold an in-person, real, actual gaming con if or when I hit 10,000 subs. It won't be for free, obviously. You'll need to buy tickets, passes, whatever, and you got to help me pay for it, but I will do it. We had at the Methodist church that my wife and I I mean, we're still technically on the books, but we haven't been in a long time. Our organist, Mark, fantastic guy, very talented on the keyboards, obviously. The Sunday school room for the kids was behind and below the front of the church there. So to go pick your kids up, you basically, you know, at the end of the sermon, you go up the center aisle and then hang a hard left and go over to the door to walk down the stairs. And the walk would take you past where Mark was sitting playing the organ. And one day I'm standing there because there's a big lineup, all the dads, you know, it's a traffic jam, and Mark is playing the postlude there, and I put on my best Reverend Lovejoy. And now in the Garden of Eden by Iron Butterfly. he about fell over. So just waiting. If you're out there, Sapphire, and you're gonna hop in, we are waiting on you. Going a little bit over time-wise. Just a moment. This isn't church music. This is rock and or roll. Marge, remember when we used to make out to this hymn? We'll get rolling here in just a moment. Just waiting on one more player. I like to have at least 3 at the table. We will have a late joinee, but that's all good. So in the interim, do you guys have any questions for me? Any questions about Gamma World? Anything like that? Just feel free to ask them over in the chat. No, I think you're right, Jimmy. Honestly, I think they just sort of let. I don't know what they should have done about Fallout 3 and its factions. I mean, I had a lot of fun with Fallout 3 and all of its various add-ons, but good Lord. Yeah, the Brotherhood. I think they kind of started trying to correct, maybe overcorrected a little bit, but they did start with Fallout 4. They started fixing it. Tommy, I'm playing first edition Gamma World. Let me see here. Let me show you the cover of the book if you're unfamiliar with. So there you go. A science fantasy role-playing game, Gamma World. And that glorious, glorious piece of Dave Trampier artwork. I love how delightfully wonky the weapons are, too. Just like the ones in S3. The optimum number of henchmen. Okay, so I think that is wholly incumbent on the type of campaign that the DM is running at that time. I think I think if you're doing a big expansive dungeon crawl, you know, you got a mega dungeon, you're running something like Caves of Chaos or Temple of Elemental Evil, you know, I would think a magic user would want at least a small, like 6 light foot and a sergeant to lead them for his own defense. And then there's those cases where it's like, we found 6,000 silver pieces. Okay, that's 600 pounds. Everybody's wearing armor. Nobody's got it. Nobody's got exceptional strength. Well, what do? Well, you bring some porters and bearers. Or the magic user is like, well, I'm going to cast a spell. Okay, you're human, and you told me you were carrying a torch. You gotta have both your hands free there, Merlin. And I can accept, well, I'll wedge it in the wall, or didn't you say there were sconces I can place it in? Yeah, but not accidentally stepping off the underground cliff and falling to your death and so on. That's kind of key. So those are key things, right? So you have link boys, you have torch bearers, you have porters. Let's say you're doing something like Descent into the Depths. All right, you're going to take a mule train with you. Well, you might need animal handlers, and if you're taking the animal handlers, other than yourselves, you might want people to defend them. So again, we're back to heavy foot and a leader for them. So if every player has a bearer, and you've got a couple of link boys for light, and you've got, say, a couple of magic users, and each has a group of 4 to 6 heavy foot defending them, I mean, you can end up with a very large expedition. And despite all the warnings in the world, there's going to be people coughing, there's going to be clinks and clanks and sound of buckles and straps, and I dropped my dagger, let me pick that up, or someone yelling or saying, ooh, I feel a chill. It's going to be noisy. It's not going to be like, well, I realize that there's like 40 of us. There's 40 of us marching through the dungeon. You're going to make noise. You're not going to do it silently. And hey, I'll just cast silence 15-foot radius on everybody. Then suddenly, it's like, oh, I got to move back so, he can cast spells. How are you communicating? How are you yelling warnings? If not everybody's a demi-human, there's got to be multiple light sources. Monsters are going to see that coming from many hundreds of feet away. What's up, Wave? Wave of Mutilation? Original inspiration for the Brotherhood of Steel were the monks in the Canonical for Leibowitz, and Bethesda have completely ignored that side of the Brotherhood of Steel. Yep. Rolling bowling balls down the hall. So we should have everyone in here in just a moment. Hey, there we are. Alrighty. Sorry for the extended preamble ramble, guys, but let us say hello to Numbers Rab 4077 herself and the one, the only, Bogo Jorts.
You big suey.
Hello.
Hello. We will be hopefully like I said, Kevin will be in shortly. Yep. In the meantime, for those of you who perhaps don't remember last week's game, the party had shot it out with, once again, androids in the ruins of a city and found their grim handiwork on the top floor of a building. They then were immediately set on, as they searched around the town, by a flight of Blash, which, for those who are curious, are 2-meter wide radioactive moths that can kill you dead as Dillinger. So they probably wisely fled them and are now traveling down the highway. Is it still Numbers behind the wheel?
That is correct, sir.
Alrighty. So let's see. Let me pull open my notes here because I showed everyone the cover and then lost my place in the rule book. Not too bad.
No, that's okay. It's a Friday.
Yeah.
There's leniency.
Bob Jester, hey, man.
Alrighty. I know what that is. Come on. Okay, so you drive along the sections of the ancient roadway that are still intact. Periodically, you have to go a little bit slowly. And as you are crossing one of those areas, you see what look like very large lizards. Perhaps, let's say they're not very far away at all. They're about 10 meters away on the right-hand side as you're looking for another stretch of road. Have any CAs shown up in the GW campaign? No, there have been some. There have been some that have shown up. So as you are rolling down there, you spot these creatures, and they're about 3 to 4 meters long, and they notice your vehicle.
Do we have windows? Do they open, and can we start shooting at them?
You can certainly shoot at them if you want. And yes, the vehicle has windows.
All right. Stun them.
All right. Is Numbers slowing down, or is he just moving? Well, I mean, you're not going top speed over broken terrain in this vehicle, right. So
yeah, right. So I had a question. They were basically like the hypotenuse of 10 meters away from us, like not 10 meters straight in front, off to the right, not to the right.
Correct. So they're off to your right.
Yeah.
There.
I think typically what I would do in a scenario such as this for the future or whatever would be to slow down a bit and hope that the passengers can assess through the windows the danger and shoot or not shoot. I think that would probably be our MO going forward while we're driving around through the wilderness.
And if we happen to miss too many, then I guess you can floor the sucker and see if we can outrun them.
Yeah, well, I can haul ass if you miss once, because if you miss once, then they're going to be on us.
Yeah.
But I think that's up to you guys.
If we take down a couple of them, odds are they're probably going to veer off anyway for easier prey.
Right. I'm just ready to drive. You guys handle the hostility assessment.
We're the side and rear guarda.
Okay, so go ahead then. Since you can act before them and numbers, you saw them. You can go ahead and target one with a stun blast as you like.
Right, that would be one of the other people. I got my hands on the wheel.
Yes. I'm sorry. That was directed at Sapphire 4077. You may. That's okay.
There's a kitten falling off the back of my desk. Sorry.
Oh no.
Oh, she's fine. She's fine.
Okay.
I saw little claws and heard noise. So how many dice? 3 D6s?
Yes, that is correct.
Come on. Okay.
Well, I mean, you still have to roll to hit.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's a D20.
Oh, 20. Okay, sorry.
Oh, so that did hit one of them.
And 13. Yep.
13. Okay. And they have. All right. There's 12. You got a 13. So yeah, one of them just flops down.
Cool.
The other two. All right, the other two raise up about half of their height, and they're going to do something. What is Bogo Jorts doing?
Bogo is going to try out his new sling with grenades. I'm going to load the grenade in the sling and try to fling.
Oh, good Lord.
All right, Bogo, roll initiative for me.
All righty. Using the white D6 for those keeping score at home. Oh, a 6. Might have to keep this white one.
Damn it, I hope you didn't drop it in the cart.
Okay, roll a D20 to try and hit them. We'll just treat this as a standard sling, but we'll be doing some more damage than a sling stone.
Okay. 17.
17 will hit, so go ahead and
It's the grenade is two dice damage, right?
that is correct. So roll 2d6.
A total of 10.
A total of 10. All right. Well, this blows up in front of one of them, and you definitely have their attention. And somebody has a cat near their microphone.
Oh yeah, that's the kid that fell off the back of the desk. Sorry.
Oh no, that's quite all right. We're big fans of the fuzzy friends around here. All right. So. All right. They are going to rear up on their back legs, and they unleash radiated eye blasts at you. So.
Oh, fun.
Okay, what is Bogo's constitution?
Bogo's constitution is a heroic 14.
Is an heroic 14. All right. Bogo winds up with enough mutations here, he could turn back into a regular person.
Ooh.
All right, so Constitution, I'm sorry, you said 13?
14. If I turn back into a human, do I turn into Peter Dinklage?
Possibly.
Really? That's what you're going with?
But in this case, you take 8 points of damage.
Ow.
Yeah.
Good
What
thing
is,
I'm a med tech.
and what is,
Mine is 12.
what is, yours is 12, okay. All right.
I have a real quick question for you, Bill. My body carpus, like a
Mhm.
beetle or whatever, reduces damage by half. Does that apply in this case?
That's a good question. But Sapphire 4077 also takes 8 points of damage.
Okay.
Let me see about that damage reduction, if that applies to radiation or no. I mean, technically damage is damage, so do you have partial carapace or total carapace?
Total. It's a full body carapace.
All right. So it says all damage, and this is damage, so yeah, you're, you take half of that.
Okay.
And they are now kind of jogging, trying to keep pace with the vehicle. Kevin's character is drawing his weapon. You're like, what is that? What is that thing? And you now recognize the lizard, like they're like half plant, half lizard. They're called Kylin. And he is going to draw a weapon and take a shot in the next round. So what is Sapphire going to do?
I'm going to fire another stun at it with the needler.
Oh, that's fine. Doomsword, his number is going to keep driving.
Hang on, kids. I'm flooring it. These lizards
Okay.
can be fast.
Okay.
All right. And Bogo Jorts, you going to sling another grenade?
Bogo's going to have another grenade ready, but he's going to give the lizard the middle finger once he hears numbers is going to punch it.
Okay. Then go ahead and fire your stun dart at another one.
Okay. 18.
That will hit. Roll your 3d6.
Let's see. 10.
Okay. All right, Constitution. And you rolled a 10. Okay, so it thrashes around a bit, clawing at the dart, but it does not go over.
Well, it distracts it at least, so.
Well, maybe.
Here's hoping it'll slow it down a bit.
Let me see. Roll a d20 for me, if you would, please, Doomsword, for numbers driving.
All
Since
right,
you're
here we go.
over rough, broken terrain.
Yeah, that'd be an 8.
That'd be an 8. Okay, the car is lurching up and down. Your buddy is trying to get a shot in. Roll initiative for Bogo, if you would.
Oh, okay. I roll initiative again.
Yeah, that's you. Yes.
Oh, I rolled a 1, and the white dice is retired.
Okay. All right. Well, the good news is the second one missed you guys entirely. The bad news is it hit, and we're just going to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo to see which one of you just got microwaved. Unfortunately, this falls on 4077 again. And you said your con is 12, correct? Sapphire, your constitution is 12. You're muted. Well, I believe she said it was 12, so.
I think so.
All right.
I vote yes.
All right. Okay. Well, if you're still with us there, Sapphire, 4077 feels a wave of illness and unease kind of pass through you as the thing flashes its lights as the lights in its eyes flashes at you.
These things suck.
Yes, they do. What sucks worse is Numbers, the vehicle. You hear a metallic crunch, and a few red lights come up on the control panel, and it grinds to a stop. And
bother.
And Kevin will take a shot. Oh, that's a 20. So one of them just got 6d6. He would be happy to know that.
Bags, bring in the heat.
He is taking a shot at the one that has already gotten a grenade, so hopefully this will drop it. Not with that subpar roll. Let's see. That's 12 on 6d6. All right.
Whoa.
So they are now approaching you, kind of trying to spread out and come around in a pincher maneuver. Numbers, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna back out the window and sit on the window jamb and fire over the vehicle. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Sapphire, what are you doing?
I mean, we're still in a vehicle, so I'm keeping basically the window up as much as possible and still having a good shot. So I'll attack.
Okay, and what about Bogo?
Bogo is going to throw the grenade with the sling.
All right. Doomsword, go ahead and make your attack for Numbers.
All righty. Come on. I rolled on papers last time. That's what screwed me. All right, I got a 12.
We're such a superstitious bunch.
That's called gaming.
Yes, all gamers are superstitious. So let's see.
Well, I might have to break out my dice tower if that's the case.
You rolled a 12. Your weapons class is what? I'm sorry?
13, sir.
13. So 12 and a 13. I'm almost certain you did hit it.
I'm grabbing my dice.
Yes, that is a solid hit.
All right. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20.
All right, you burn a good sized hole in it.
Sweet.
Sapphire 4077 can take her shot.
Okay. All right, let me get my reading glasses on because these stupid dice are the old style with tiny little numbers and crayon inside of it.
I understand.
15.
Uh, 15. Let's see. Con is 12 of 15. Let's see. Yeah, you guys having super fast decks is really okay. It collapses, and now let's roll initiative for the other half of the group. Go ahead and roll it, please. There, Tonka.
Alrighty. 2.
Okay. The other one sees its fellow go down after its first fellow had gone down, and it turns on its heel and is sprinting away. Your companion fires at it and misses. Is Bogo going to grenade sling at it?
Absolutely.
Give me a roll.
Come on, white dice, don't do me dirty. Oh, and you did me dirty. That's a 9. I'm guessing that's a miss.
A 9. And what weapon class is the sling?
The sling or
0.
the grenade? Sling is just a leather strap.
Okay. We'll put that. Well, it's a sling projectile, so it is a weapon class 9 for purposes. And you rolled a what?
I rolled. I believe I rolled a 9.
You rolled a 9. Okay. Yeah, that scatters away, a few meters away from it, and it keeps running into the afternoon.
It does a brave Sir Robin.
Yeah, it basically sees what became of its fellows and wants none of it now. So it is moving on. So let me see. So, did you hear when I said you got that second dose of radiation? Sapphire, did you hear when I said you got a second dose of radiation?
So what does that mean?
Well, you got 8 more points, and let's see.
I'm going to be healing myself eventually, quickly.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing about your synthetic body is, despite the fact that you have preternaturally faster reflexes and some mental things, is it is very, very much like a living organism, which means, guess what? You can get mutations. Certain ones won't affect you. Like, we'll see what comes up. But yeah, you got enough of a dose in that second one that you're taking a mutation. It won't manifest itself for a week. Let's see here.
Of course, I don't think I can become a human.
Yeah,
no. I've already claimed Peter Dinklage, so you can't be him.
You don't want a twinsy?
I'm swapping you both out when I go and see Rex.
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling the love here.
All right. No, this is going to be. This will be a physical mutation. And again, it will manifest itself. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. All right.
Ah,
I mean, it is.
I'm playing Death in Space, and I have a clone growing out of me, and I have 4 legs currently at this point with that character. So I don't know. Can it be worse?
All right. So your vehicle, like I said, you kind of went over some rough terrain. You heard a metallic crunch, and now there's a bunch of yellow and red lights flickering on the panel in front of you. What do you want to do?
all right, I'm gonna loop my right leg out of the vehicle, being that I was sitting on the driver's side windowsill. Get out of the vehicle. Regard the Volkswagen emblem that's clearly on the side front left, and and move towards the corpses.
Okay. They are faint. They are twitching. They were not shot. You shot knockout darts at them, not toxin darts, correct, Sapphire?
Take a blade to them and finish them.
Yeah, I'll vibroblade them if they're like alive. If they're just stunned.
Yeah. And you recognize them. They look lizard-like, but they're actually plant-like. So you kind of got to give them a few good hacks to make sure you get whatever passes as a nervous system inside them, and they're done in good order.
Yeah,
You get to be a lumberjack.
Is it that they're like some sort of some sort of lore regarding eating the plant-like parts of these creatures? Like, can you like make swamp cabbage or something?
Oh,
Coleslaw. Oh my god.
I guess if you were hungry enough, you could. But as far as like poisoning you, you don't think so. But they have a very, very tough bark-like hide covering them.
Right. Okay. Well,
So they're like
screw all
the
that
extreme broccoli there.
Roughage. They'll clean you up.
Inside and
But
outside.
You finish them off.
All right. Well, I'll just end up moving back toward the vehicle to assess damage.
Okay. Alrighty. Fortunately, it's still daylight, so looking it over and examining it is not that big of a deal.
I'm using the med kit on myself, and then didn't Bogo take some damage too?
He did.
No, just 4 points. I'm okay.
Okay.
A sunburn it is. Bactine do you have?
So I guess I'll do extreme healing to myself because I took 16 points of damage.
Okay.
And probably a mutation of some sort that I'll learn about shortly.
Bogo's going to climb out and on top of the car, kind of start scanning the area to make sure nothing else tries to slip up on us.
All right. So let's go to chart B and give me numbers. Give me a D10 roll.
That's a 9.
Okay, yeah, you're kind of pushing and pulling at things. Nothing really changes. You want to give it another shot.
Yeah, for sure. That's a 4.
All right, so you've got the hood up and you've flipped a couple of switches on the control panel in it, and it's kind of trying to tell you what's wrong with it. You got the malfunction subsystems menu up.
All right. I'm well familiar with malfunctions. Roll another 4.
Okay, you've eliminated all the non-critical ones, and you've just got a couple of critical ones that are in the red.
All right. I'll continue pressing buttons, mashing buttons, whatever I do. And I get an 8.
Yeah, you're not getting any more information out of the dash at this point. You can certainly try again.
Yeah, I'm gonna slam my fist down on it. Open up.
Kicking it really solves things, but yeah, it kind of works.
Might give you a +1 on your die for that. A 3?
I got a 3. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, apparently you hit the right thing because there's information. There's like 2 boxes of information, and one is cross tread stabilization, and the other says electronic power control.
Damn, Shivkoni, you were right. You just got to hit it with a hammer sometimes.
I was looking for the restart option.
He just shrugs. All right, yeah. So you can certainly try and effect a restart if you'd like to do that.
All right, for sure. Come on, baby. I know you got it in you.
Hear me, baby. Hold together.
8.
Rub the hood a little bit, make it feel special.
Okay. The turbine sputters. The vehicle does not move. You may attempt to.
I see what it is now. I see what it is now, right here. Hang on, guys. 8.
Okay, the turbine is now up to like an almost ear-splitting pitch, but the vehicle is still not moving, and you're watching a couple of gauges slide up out of the green into the yellow.
Pull
Shut
that.
it down.
No.
Shut it down.
Wait till it spools down. No, I see what's up. We just got to clear this out right here. 5.
Okay, yeah, the turbine spins down, and you're back at that primary malfunction menu.
All right, I think I got it cleaned out now. I'll use my other tool here.
All right.
4.
A 4. Okay. Yeah, you're not leaving that. You're not leaving that menu. You're just kind of touching the screen and touching the buttons around it, and it's still, just turbine is slowly winding down. You can hear it.
No wonder this thing was broke down when we got it. I'm going to shake on the control box or whatever, make sure I'm not missing any wiring that needs to be contacted, and press the same buttons.
All right.
2.
Okay, you hear the steady hum of the turbine kick back on.
All right. Does it look like it'll accelerate now?
Maybe. Give me another roll.
Damn. Come on. 2.
Okay. It softly lurches forward. It feels like it wants to move, but it kind of settles back where it was. You think you're almost on top of it. I'll give you a -1 on your next roll if you want to roll again.
Yeah, let me pick a different. Come on. I've been switching dice for every single roll. All right, that's a 5, which is modified to 4.
Okay, you got the engine idling. All the subsystems that need to be powered up are powering up. You know how to drive it. So I'm going to go ahead and call that a success. There is still the question of the drivetrain itself, because when you ease forward, it's moving, but you're hearing a grinding sound. So there may be something physically broken you have to find a part for. You don't know, but you can drive forward now.
Right.
So we're not going to be like speeding off, but we have forward momentum.
Yeah,
Correct.
George, why don't you climb up under there? I can't fit, man. That's outside of my range. See what you see. Look
All
at
right,
the wheels or whatever. Come on.
Bogo's going to try to climb under the car to ascertain what's happening here.
Okay. Well, let's see. We're just gonna make this real simple. You don't know exactly what you need to be looking for. You do have the dual brain thing going, right? Or no, that's Chef Coney who has a dual brain. But Bogo's intelligence is high enough that you get serious bonuses to your rolls. Correct?
Yeah, I have heightened intelligence, and I subtract 2 when identifying ancient artifacts.
Okay, I'll kind of consider this in the same vein. So go ahead and start rolling. We're doing chart B, so give me a D10 roll.
Alrighty. 2 minus 2 is 0.
Okay. Well, at a glance, there's lots of dirty and greasy parts under here. Some of it less greasy because it's scraped against each other or just rolled against each other. Give me another die roll.
-1.
Okay, you think you're tracing it. You're kind of moving your little hand along some metal struts there, kind of following that around. Give me one more roll.
I'm so afraid right now. You just do not even know.
I expect you to fail.
A grand total of 2 after subtracting.
All right, give me one more.
The suspense.
Bill's wanting Bogo to blow this car up. Is what he's doing. A grand total of 6.
Okay, yeah, you're swinging around under there. You're not really sure. Go ahead and give me another roll.
All right. 6 again. I'm going to retire that red dice. That red dice is gone bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, you're still looking around. You can't quite figure it.
What is it, man? We walk from here or what?
Kerfuffled it is.
Can I give it a try?
Well, wait. Is Numbers driving at this point, and he just ordered Bogo to like climb under the car while it's going, or
no, I didn't want to take off. Once I saw that it moved a little bit, I stopped it. There was clearly a problem, and I would rather it be right.
Okay, well, certainly you can attempt that.
Okay. Am I doing 10s too?
Yes, you're going to do a single D10 rolls.
Okay. That's a 2.
Okay, you're looking at where Bogo was looking, so you think you're kind of onto it.
Okay. Obviously, you want me to roll again?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a 1.
All right. You think you're narrowing it down. You're like, okay, the grinding sound was coming from up here, so I'm looking in there. Roll it again.
Okay. That's a 3.
All right. Yeah, you're looking exactly where Bogo was, and you think maybe you're seeing the problem. Go ahead. One more roll.
That's a 1.
Wow. This is some amazing die rolls. So, yeah, you kind of putting your hand back there. You're feeling something. Maybe it's a little out of whack. Give me one more.
Okay. That is a 7.
Yeah, it's something under there is broken, but you can't tell exactly what.
Let's haul ass. We ain't got all day.
All right. I mean, I'm going to heal as much as I can while we're here before we start moving.
Okay. I mean, as long as you're as long as you're sitting in the car, as long as you're sitting in the car with the medical device on you, it will heal you. You know, as long as you don't jump out and start running.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna completely try to get up to full
All right.
before we move.
Sure enough. So Chef Coney is, you know what? He's going to take a crack at it before you guys take off. I'll just, because he's got dual brain.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. So, not bad. Let's see what brought him over there. Would have back around there. Back around there.
That guy's
Okay.
used to being greasy anyway.
So Chef Coney, he's Chef Coney is messing around under there, and finally he comes out, and for a moment you think he's been injured horribly because there's a red fluid all over his hands, but he says, there's some kind of pipe that goes to the front wheels that is broken and is leaking this stuff out. There still seems
fluid.
There still seems to be plenty in there because it is still dripping out on my hands, but how much we have and will the car still go when it's all gone? I don't know.
Ain't no way to seal it up down there. George, you ain't got no pipes and all that. I see you grabbing all that string and junk.
Bogo doesn't have any pipes. He has bits of wiring.
Do I have medical tape? Can I improvise and use it for something?
I'll say you've got some in a med kit. You can certainly try that. Might stave off the inevitable for a while until you can
All right.
maybe scap something or find a settlement.
Let's do it. If it's good for biological or organics, maybe it'll work for mechanical.
Maybe. All right, so you wrap a goodly amount on there until it's down to just a faint seep, and you can get back on the road now as you like, or get back rolling again.
Yeah, so in terms of settlements and what we know about them, we're closer to Atlanta than anything we know about, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, well, that's the way we'll go.
Right on.
Off to the beach, Phil.
Okay, so after about another hour or so of driving, you actually come to a section of ancient road, which is nice because now you're not all being shaken to death.
Right.
And Sapphire, it's been particularly brutal on 4077. You're not sure about how the radiation might have affected you. I mean, you know, when you kind of scan internal systems, you just get reports back from different subsystems, like, you know, compensating, under repair, check back later. But just leaning back in the seat, it hurts your back. You've never experienced a sunburn, but it feels like that on your upper back. So you're kind of having to lean forward slightly there. So
I'm going to, if I've got that kind of thing, I'm going to see if Bogo can like look and see what's going on my back.
Okay.
Since he's not driving.
All right.
Sure.
All right, so yeah, you do see kind of a faint rash back there. And it's nothing like, her skin's falling off in clumps or anything like that. But it is obvious, there's something is going on there. Bob says, so Cylons don't tan well? I guess not.
Yeah, I'll hand him a med kit and say, well, focus and use it on an area and see if it'll help.
The itching abates somewhat, but the rash itself does not seem to go away.
Okay. So every once in a while I'll hand him the med kit and tell him to refresh.
Okay, well, I mean, you're going to run out of supplies for it. I'm just.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're close to Atlanta, so we'll see what we do when we get there.
Okay, as you are cruising along the highway, you are coming to a point there where it looks like there are several improvised structures that are built on the median, and standing on a tower that appears to be made of bits of metal and steel that have been riveted and screwed and lashed together. You see a Sleeth. He is observing you through some kind of distance viewer, and this is about maybe a kilometer away. At least you think it's a Sleeth.
Yeah. What's the lighting situation? What time is it?
It is. It's in the afternoon, and you're driving to the west, so you're going kind of into the sun, but
Right.
There's still plenty of light to see by.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll slow down and more sort of roll forward. Say from I assume maybe like 40 miles an hour down to like 15.
Okay.
And look for signs of the Sleeth directing any sort of communication toward us.
He is actually waving a red flag, a red piece of cloth.
All right, I'll stop the vehicle.
Yeah, he's obviously waving us off.
So he does not leave the tower, but an opening in the structure that's nearest you appears, and two Sleeths bound out, and they obviously have weapons in their hands. They're not pointing them at you, but they are approaching you cautiously. They could be pointing them at you fairly quickly.
Yeah,
Our wayward member has check backstage, Bill.
I'm sorry, say again?
Our fourth member's here.
Oh, I see. Okay. You snuck in. Hello.
Greetings.
You made it.
I made it.
All right. So yes, you had a shootout with some radioactive lizards, and 4077 took some radiation damage, but you are now at what appears to be some kind of small settlement or outpost of Sleeth, and a couple of them are approaching your vehicle. They have weapons at port arms, They're not pointing them at you, but they are they are approaching your vehicle. So Numbers, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to take my hands off the wheel and slowly put them both out the driver's side window.
Okay.
I'm going to try to hide, but I don't think my field cares.
Probably not.
As they approach the car, one of them reaches out to he kind of reaches out his hands in a double handshake grasp at Numbers there. But just as he's doing that, the other one kind of hisses and hunkers down and is bringing his weapon around.
We mean you no harm. One of us is a mutant.
Numbers, you can go first. Or you and 4077 can go first. So what are you guys doing? Because one of them is fine, like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, he's going to shake both your hands at once because he's asleep. And the other one looks like it wants to ventilate Chef Coney. So, what?
So I'll shake the sleaze hand. And try to kind of pull him around in front of me as I do so, and explain that we've got a mutant with us.
Okay. What is 4077 doing?
I'm going to make some kind of a joke. I'm going to do a BOGO thing. I'm going to say, some people's pets, you know, we picked this thing up and oh my God, we've had nothing but trouble. Everybody is upset about this.
Okay. So yeah, you guys basically you act before they do. You get your speech off. You're shaking his hands and saying, "Hey, he's a mutant." So what is BOGO doing?
Bogo's gonna climb out on top of the car again and keep an eye on the crazy acting one.
Okay, and what is Chef Coney doing?
I'm staying out of arm's reach. I guess. Can I get down on the floorboard or something?
We've got a blanket. You're gonna pull it over yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't help, but I just don't want to get throttled.
All right. So let's go ahead and roll initiative then. You just got here. Kevin, roll a d6, please.
All right. Let's see. Here we are. God, my mouse is not happy. And what is with that?
By the way, you blasted one of the Kylin earlier, and you did 12 points of damage on 6d6. Sorry.
That sounds about right.
That's pretty terrible. I mean, like, a nat 20, that's awesome. Roll your damage. 12.
That's yeah. Like I told you, we're our own worst enemies. I got a 5.
Okay, you will go first. You throw yourself onto the floorboard. This thing lunges at the vehicle. It doesn't know how to get in, so it's basically like clawing the sides. And the one sleeth is shaking your hands, Numbers, and he's looking at your face. What is going on? And he's trying to pull his hand. Are you like holding his hands and preventing him from pulling out, or is he?
I would prefer not to have any sort of overt hostility, and I'll just continue to talk while they go about their actions, you know, trying to convince them otherwise.
Okay, so he seems kind of uncertain about the situation, but he's worried that something is happening to his friend. So, he says he's listening to Numbers. He looks at 4077 though and says, "I do not understand. Make this thing stop." And he actually points at BOGO.
BOGO, stand down. Listen, we have a mutant in the back of the vehicle. Okay, he has a some sort of field or something. We are friends of the Sleeth. We would never dare come here if we weren't. We surely know that you guard this place. We seek no hostility, friend.
We really need you to take a bath one of these days. Come on.
All right. He is trying to pull his fellow back, and with some difficulty, they move back away from the vehicle, back into their building, and eventually one of them comes back out. You think it's the same one. He's got kind of a crisscross orange kind of bandolier thing on and a weapon, and he's sort of eyeing you suspiciously, and he comes
Coney,
back.
come out.
What is Chef Coney?
You'll see it. Chef Coney.
I peek out from under the floorboard. Say, here. Raise my hand.
Okay. He is obviously not affected by your field, but he kind of still narrows his reptilian eyes and says, I do not understand what has happened to my clan member. What is it you seek from the Sleeth?
Oh, well, that unhappiness he has is just, let's just say, a bad birth defect that I have, and unfortunately, it's likely that he feels that way without intending to.
Ah, I see you are a mutant.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a mutant.
Most unfortunate that it causes such anger.
Believe me, it's really unfriendly on this side of the equation.
Ah, yes. Well, what may we do?
Well, I mean, do we need anything?
I think we're just trying to pass through.
Yeah, just don't harm us. We are friends of the Sleeth.
So you have said. Well, come forward, friends.
All right. Get up and get out.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of feel this tickling in the back of your heads, all of you, and the Sleeth basically says, yes, I can see. You do not mean us harm. It is unfortunate that your mind causes this anger.
Well, we've gone back and forth on it. Theoretically, of course, being that we live with this guy, right? And what we've decided is that it's the individual who has the problem, not so much him. So I'm afraid your friend's mind is rather weak. Just saying.
Yes, that could be the case. Still, if you mean us no harm, we mean you no harm.
Indeed.
Do you wish to trade, or are you simply passing through?
So you guys have control of this whole place? Is this just a guard post on the perimeter? What's the story in Atlanta, rather?
Lanta is ruined in many places, many dangers there, but much to be salvaged from it. So I am told.
Indeed.
Do you have a repair place here? Our vehicle probably can use some maintenance if there is something. Otherwise, we can continue on.
Being that Atlanta is so close to Stronghold, I feel like there's much to be shared. At least the guy who sends me over here wants me to look at stuff like this. Even though we be passing through, of course.
Okay, so he's they don't go into Atlanta because of how devastated it is, and there are other dangers in the city, but I mean, it depends on what you're looking for from them.
Right, so you guys just keep this guard post here, huh? You make minor excursions into the town.
Sometimes we have a place. A few Sleeth are here. We have a garden for food. This ground, and he stomps his foot. This is good. From the before times, man made stone. But here in the middle, there is grass. There is garden.
Right, I see the black soil.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically...
So plants are growing.
Yeah, there's, a green space in the median, and that's where they're growing whatever crops they have.
How far do we think we're from Lana?
He tells you it is, I'm going to say his best estimate is that it's still maybe 100, 150 kilometers from Atlanta.
Oh, okay, yeah, so we're a distance off. Anybody got anything to trade with this guy?
I definitely don't have anything.
Yeah. Good too.
Is Chef Tony going near the settlement, or?
I'm going to I'll just watch from a distance, just to avoid problems.
Bogo actually has a couple of items he could try to trade with the Steve.
Okay.
I've got that portable TV and that clock I picked up in the.
That's right. You sure do.
Ooh.
I keep notes, people. I keep notes.
There you go. Okay, so they kind of ooh and ah over your items, and then they politely hand them back and say, "What are they for? What do they do?"
Bogo holds up the clock and says, "This bomb this is." And then with the portable TV, he says, "The creators of the ancients speak through this."
Okay. They're more impressed with the television than they are with the clock, because the clock is in really bad shape, but the television is in good condition, and they kind of they look at each other. You think they're speaking telepathically, and finally one of them says, "What do you wish to trade for this speaking device of the ancients?"
What do you have available to trade?
Well, let's take a look. Let's see what they have. They actually begin to lay some objects out on a table. And come on. All right, so they have some articles of clothing that obviously are meant for beings larger than you, and probably for Sleeth. They have some food. They have crossbow bolts, nice steel crossbow bolts. A quiver of 15 arrows, and some knives that appear to be made of metal.
Numbers, how are you on? Do you still have your crossbow?
No.
Numbers? Okay. Does anybody see anything laid out they might would want?
I do not.
No.
I'm afraid there's nothing that trade with you. I will not. And Bogo puts the clock and the TV back in the car.
Okay, all right. They accept that, and is there anything else you wish to do amongst the Sleeth?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe just get just shake hands and get a confirmation that we're friends of the Sleeth as well as these other ones we've met.
Sure. You are, despite his grumpy demeanor, Numbers Rab is the human Sleeth ambassador for the southeastern United States.
Just
Let's
as God.
thank him for his time.
All right. They bid you best of luck in your travels, and don't tamper with ancient machines, they suggest.
Right.
Certainly something to keep in mind. Thank you.
I'm terrible at doing that anyway.
Bogo also warns them of the cyborg death squad that we took out, and just tries to let them know to keep their wits about them if these robots are out here killing folks.
All right. Well, they are greatly appreciative of that warning, and they will double up their guards, which you didn't see a huge number of Sleeths. That may not tip the balance in their favor, but all right. So the rest of the day passes, and you're rolling along that stretch of ancient road. Darkness falls. Do you guys wish to stop and camp?
Yeah, I think that's what we would normally do in this situation.
I don't think we're really going to camp. I think we're going to lock the doors, keep the windows up, and have a rotational watch going on.
Jimmy Invictus asks, isn't Sapphire technically an ancient machine? One never asks a lady her age. So the evening passes fairly uneventfully. The only thing of note is that 4077, the itching and burning has stopped, and it's a dull ache now.
Okay. So as soon as the light comes up, I'm going to have Bogo look and see if the rash has gotten worse or better.
The mottled spots have kind of consolidated, and now it's in two separate places on either side of her back near her shoulders.
Damn it, I've got shingles.
And they're each one is about the size of a human hand. Not one of your hands. It's huge compared to your hands, but
so she's a shingled drive? Is that Is that what happened?
Oh,
I missed this, I guess.
well, she got radiation. It induced him.
Okay. All right. It's radiation poisoning or whatever. Okay.
So
was-
technically, she's already hung out her shingle to start her practice.
I understand. Okay. Perfect. I didn't know they were affected by radiation, but hey.
It was itching. It was a rash. It's now lumpy, in certain spots. I don't know.
Well, synthetic humans before the war were darn close to real humans.
So they have human skin?
Uh,
Or very close to human skin, anyway?
very close to human skin.
Okay. Damn. That looks pretty bad.
Thanks.
I say, when I get those kind of rashes, I have this burlap that I use to cover my skin so it doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if that'll help for you, but...
I'll try it.
Okay.
If he's offering, I'll try it.
I'll unroll a couple of the extra sheets of burlap that I keep to keep myself from getting sunburned to death, and I'll hand it over.
So I'll wrap it around
Okay, so
my
you're
upper torso
a burlap,
underneath my clothes. Yep.
which is probably as comfortable as it sounds like.
It's better than burning to death.
All right. Okay. The rest of the day passes uneventfully as you approach, and the road gives way. Let's see. Numbers. There is a large crater, I mean, I'm talking it like it's got to be 100 meters across. It's got some stunted plants and grasses growing in it, but it is obviously a crater that completely breaks the road, and it is shattered beyond where this hit. The road was starting to get bumpier as you approach this, and before you actually get to it and can top over it and look in it, the ancient road material has rippled like water and is still more or less holding that shape where this struck. All the various bits of metal and so on that you've seen are, they look like they've run like candle wax.
Maybe we should drive around it.
I'll slam the decelerator and and talk to my companions. What do you make of this? As I look left and right to see how far in either direction it goes, and if it looks like we could drive around.
And I should point out that the grinding sound has become more prominent from underneath the vehicle as you're going. Like you can kind of feel a faint sensation in the control wheel of the vehicle.
Right. Does it look like we can drive around?
The road drops off to the left and to the right. You might have to back up and try and come back to this point to go around.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, what do you think, boys?
Yeah.
Back up and go around.
Yeah.
Does nobody has the ability to see if there's, EMF stuff?
I don't even know what
definitely
that
do
means.
I'm pretty sure I don't. I don't know. Do I?
Hang on a second.
Barongo had that ability, but Chivcona
Yes.
does not. I just want to see what we're getting into, or what's getting into us, I guess, if we wait too long.
All right. You know that you can put on your ultraviolet and infrared goggles and see certain wavelengths of radiation with those.
Let's do it.
So that's numbers that has the goggles, or is it?
Well, there were two. You found two pairs. So.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Right, I have one, and whenever it gets night, I typically put those on.
Okay.
I'll put them on now. See what you see.
Let's see how fast we have to leave.
Right. I'll scan the area.
While you're safe on this side of the crater, there is definitely a haze over the middle of it of some lambent radiation there.
Okay, but what about the edges? Numbers? Do you see anything over the? Is it past? Is it flowing towards us? I mean,
no.
No.
Yeah, just across and around.
If it's going in a direction, it's just shining straight up like Chernobyl.
Okay, awesome. Well, I
So
guess
it's centered in this crater, so we should be able to get around it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, in that case, we'll drive around.
Cool.
So, are there others like this that we could see? Or
not from right here, but typically what the little bit is the ancient great cities of man were heavily bombarded in the past. So this would be one of many craters like this.
So we'll just have to be careful as we drive in closer because there might be more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We'll get back in the transport and wait for vehicle.
I've wrapped the burlap around me just to see if it's going to be helpful.
I'm sorry, you got the what on you?
The burlap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll back off, like you said, a little bit and try to take a simpler incline down into the area and skirt the perimeter of the crater.
Okay. Oof. Okay. You go for about a kilometer or two backtracking. And the grinding sound is now just unmistakably loud. And the vehicle is kind of starting to jiggle a little bit.
All right, well, I'll stop the vehicle.
All right.
I'm going to try to retape if possible. From here. Can I try to retape? See if that helps.
Getting under the vehicle, there is a lot of heat. It's too hot to touch. The original tape looks like it's still there somewhat, but it's kind of delaminated and it is completely stained with a reddish pinkish fluid.
Yeah, I think we're walking.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess what do we have in this thing that we need to transport outside of the vehicle? Do we have anything stashed in there?
Well, you have your supplies. You have your basic supplies and whatnot. But other than that, no.
Are we able to portage those? or are they too heavy for us?
No, you can certainly carry things. It's mostly food and water.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. We'll grab that stuff and look for landmarks so we can try to find this again if we have to come back.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're walking from there.
That's it.
And as you move along, sort of sticking up through the undergrowth, not that there's a huge amount of that. Yeah, you think you must be in the outskirts. You went another maybe 50 or 60 kilometers, so you must be on the outskirts of Lanta, because there are ruins dotting the landscape around you.
Right.
Well, if there's ruins, I kind of want to check them out, maybe.
Okay.
Because there might be something useful for us, or give us some indication on what's going on further into the city.
Bogo suggests we look for blood for the car.
I'll look for whatever.
Okay. Yeah. How far? How far have we? So have we? How far have we walked since we left the vehicle, or are we just now leaving the vehicle?
You're just now leaving the vehicle.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. So the vehicle's on the outskirts. Okay.
Well, question: the ruins. Is there some place that we could pull the vehicle into, like a garage or something like that, so it's not just sitting out in the open?
Let's see.
Well, there should be enough of us to pull that, and Bogo could at least steer and then jump down and hit the brakes one time.
Yeah, there is a building that seems intact enough that you could roll the vehicle into it if you wanted.
I think we should do that.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
That way, it's not so obvious that there's a abandoned vehicle here. And if we get what we need, we might be able to repair it, or at least get it running to get us back out of here.
Works for me.
Alrighty, so you do that. You're able to move it in. You're not sure what purpose this place once had. The direction facing where you're going has two large openings in it. There are little bits of broken and melted glass dotting the floor, but everything inside is just blackened and crumbling.
That's fine. Is there like maybe a tarp or something like that that's laying around that we could use to maybe pull over to disguise the vehicle even more, so it looks like it's derelict and ancient?
No, there's nothing like that here.
Okay. Well, at least it's not so obvious. It's not out in the open, so.
Yeah, that's at least better. Yeah.
Are there any buildings, any of the ruins around? Does any have signs that maybe have a picture of the type of car we were driving?
No. Unfortunately not.
A quick gather round of the ruins and that. Is there anything that looks like it might have supplies or anything like that that would be worthwhile for us to stop and research or survey or scout?
So things here are pretty busted up, but some of the buildings do seem to have interiors that are at least intact enough that you might want to poke around in.
I think we should do that.
Let the poking begin.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I guess we, proceed toward those buildings like we typically do with the rest of the buildings that we've encountered that have been like this.
Bogo is moving stealthily and Captain Kirk rolling at every opportunity.
Understood.
Yeah, I typically stay off to the left side with my laser rifle ready.
Okay.
I've got my needler ready and I'm on the other side. Enough space in case that that 10-foot type of thing for radius. If somebody wants to throw something. Only get one of us and not all of us.
Yeah, it sounds like Bogo kind of keeps the center spot of that area of effect. So you basically just throw the stuff at him, and we'll stay like right outside that area.
Okay. So the first building you come to, the door to it, well, it was obviously made of glass. There's just a frame, and it's hanging open. Not that the broken glass would have prevented you going in. But yeah, you see some cabinets and whatnot inside.
Let's explore.
All right.
Bogo will open up a cabinet.
All right. So Bogo. In that cabinet.
You find a flying car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
No.
This is not the Oprah Winfrey show.
There is there's a block of sort of grayish brown material. It is in an elongate form, maybe 10 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. It looks like it had some kind of label on it, but it is crumbled to unreadability.
I bet it's serious putty.
Is it a container, or is it like something?
It is something.
Bogo's gonna poke it with his finger.
Okay. It is firm but yielding.
Yep, it's serious putty.
I'm going to check another cabinet.
The existence of silly putty implies the existence of
serious putty. Yeah.
Serious putty. Okay. Okay. Lying on a shelf is that you recognize it instantly because you've seen this thing around. You've seen things like this around labs and medical facilities. It is a pocket radiation intensity indicator, and it is.
I am grabbing that thing and I'm scanning my back.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're powered by long-lived radioisotopes, so it's showing nominal what it should be for yourself. But you know, there's no still on, like, you know, it's not like you have dusted your back with cesium.
So it doesn't like beep closer as I get to my back rashes.
Nope.
Okay.
Else numbers, you digging around too?
I'm gonna keep guard.
Okay. What about Chevconi?
Chevconi will open a cabinet and just look, see if there's anything useful for anybody.
All right.
Are these the wooden cabinets, or are they gray metal cabinets? What kind of cabinets are they?
They seem to be made of some plastic covered alloy. There are 3 folding chairs made of metal. They seem to be in great shape. The paint enamel on them is still good. They have padding on them. They look like they would be very comfortable. And as soon as you open that cabinet, your radiation detector starts ticking higher.
Yeah, might want to close that.
Well, I look at it before I close it. What do I see in there? Anything?
You see the 3 chairs as described.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, well, I close it. And I'm trying to figure out how big are these chairs?
They're like folding chairs.
So they're folded?
Yes, they're folded.
Okay, all right. I interrupted a poker game.
It's
Okay.
playing mutated poker.
Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, that apparently there's some chairs in there that are in perfect shape.
Yeah,
But-
but it's triggering the radiation counter thing here. So, yeah, there's something in that room. Let's try to avoid it.
All right.
Well, you're already radiated, right? So
Well, yeah, once. It's
twice,
passive
3
radiation
times, whatever.
versus the active radiation that this thing is, I think. So,
All right.
yeah. Although, hey, maybe you're right. Maybe it's another way to maybe get help. I'm not sure.
All right. Continuing to look.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna back off. That left a bad taste in my mouth, literally.
Yeah.
Why can I taste metal now?
Exactly.
Is that copper?
What's polonium?
Yeah.
Bogo will go open up the cabinet.
All right.
I thought you were going to spell out Oscar Mayer there for a second.
Bogo, you find in a box a twin of the pocket color television that you found a few days ago.
Ooh.
You have 2 of them now.
Don't encourage him.
Gonna be
We pretended we didn't see the first one so he can gloat on the second one here. Okay.
It's a dual monitor setup now.
Ooh.
Dual 5-inch TVs.
I'm gonna keep searching too.
All right. Well, in a side room, 4077, you actually find, let me see. There is a 4-wheeled cart that looks like it is of recent construction.
Ooh.
It is lined with hinged lead plates, and there is a tongue, which obviously is meant to attach to livestock of some kind to pull it.
Okay. I think we found our new vehicle here.
Well, you got to have something to pull it, but yes. And the last thing you find, we'll just go ahead and fast forward to this. The last thing you find there is a perfectly shiny. Well, it looks like a little whistle. It's about 5 centimeters long.
Somebody blow on it and see if we can hear it.
Bogo will blow the whistle.
You immediately regret that. There is a high-pitched, just very loud, piercing whistle in your ears. The rest of you guys don't hear anything.
Bogo throws it on the ground, shaking his head.
I'll pick it up.
Okay. You've got a BOGO whistle.
Bogo whistle.
Coming soon.
I'm adding it. I've added it to my inventory along with the radiation scanner.
It's an anti-BOGO whistle.
We need one of those.
BOGO's climbing up somebody's arm to try and wet willy them. You just blow that.
And say no very
I saw
loudly.
this on the Goonies.
Bad Bogo. Bad Bogo.
Okay. That is really all of the odds and ends that you can find here. Everything else is broken or completely unidentifiable and crumbling apart in this particular building.
Is there any signs? Bogo wants to check out around both inside and outside the building where the cart is to see if there's any signs of animal traffic.
All right, that's a fine idea. There may be some old Rakoxen footprints in the dust near this building, but you don't see anything that looks recent, and you can't really pick a direction.
Bogo suggests we start looking for scat for animals that could haul our new mode of transportation.
Ah, good. I was hoping you'd say that and not force me to go.
He's looking for animal poop and the animals themselves.
All right.
I'll keep a lookout. I'm not going to
Yeah.
actively look for scat.
If he eats one, I'm going to remember that to use against him later.
Okay.
I've got the whistle ready in case I have to call him off.
Yeah. So Bogo, you kind of poke and prod around some of the fallen wreckage here and again, and yeah, there's some small piles here and again, but it could be from smaller, nothing like a Rakoxen would drop, which is bigger than you, and certainly nothing.
Free mountain. Well, the fact that this cart is newly made and it was made for animals to power, there's got to be others that live around here unless the killer robots have already come through here. I say we keep looking and we do so very very carefully.
Fine by me.
So Bogo's going to continue his sneaking, Captain Kirk rolling, looking out for trouble and animals.
Okay, so as you're doing that, you hear the sound of something big, like one street over. There's like just a crashing and a crunching sound, and
Can all of us can hear that?
yes, everyone can hear that.
Yeah, well, I was taking basically a guard, so I'll head in whatever direction I think that was happening carefully.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Bogo's doing the same.
All right. As you kind of round a side street there, you can see a green and orange furred, basically hump leaning into a building, and it's kind of moving back and forth. You just see this mass of green and orange fur. And it's got a long prehensile tail just kind of laying curled on the street behind it.
Right, so we're only seeing like the back half of it, it appears.
That is correct.
How big is the part we see? Like Volkswagen?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. I'm gonna back away and let the other people try to make friends with it first, if it is friendly.
I thought you were the guy who draws aggro for us.
I do, but I'm not sure this is this a bad thing, or is this a good thing? I'm not sure.
We kill it all.
The building that this creature has its head stuck in, is there another way to get into the building?
Yeah, there's windows and doors and so on different sides of it.
Bogo's going to walk through one of those doors.
Okay. As you cross the street, it clearly hears something. You can see like its whole back tense and there's this thud. And it pulls out, stretches its wings and shakes them off. There is a Yexel sitting there, and it has a mouthful of cloth that it is How y'all doing?
He's
Is that
better a few
tasty?
minutes ago.
Yeah, this is pretty good right here.
Okay.
I wave hi to it from a distance.
Okay. Hey, y'all.
Hi. Glad you found
What-
something to eat.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah. me
sparse
too.
around here.
I've been flying for 3-4 sunups looking for something to eat, and I settled down here. I saw some of the danger holes on the ground. They make you itch and burn and all kind of bad stuff. So stay away from them. And
Hey, is there a cure for that?
Oh hell, I don't know.
Okay.
You got to stay away from the danger holes on the ground, lady. I mean, that's just kind of how that goes. But anyway, yeah. So I landed here and I could smell some really delicious cloth over yonder, and so I just had to have me a snack. People just leave food lying around. I don't even understand it. I mean, do y'all like a little bit of cloth every now and again? Yeah, I mean, you look like a man who could go through maybe a half a bolt of rayon, real easy.
Oh, it's definitely fiber.
Keeps you regular.
Oh yeah, real good for you.
Have you seen anyone else around these parts while you were flying?
Oh no! I just flew in. I'm from up north a ways, and and just looking for something tastier to eat. And I saw this old city of the ancients, and I said, I bet somewhere around there there's got to be something delicious. So I had to, the little hairy fellers, the batters. I burned a few of them alive. They've been running around screaming on fire and then fell over dead. But anyway, I come over here and I saw this place and no offense to y'all. Wait a minute. Oh no. Is this y'all's place? Did I just land and eat all the clothes you guys were going to eat? I am
No, you're good.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
It was my place, though. I don't know what the other ones are talking about, but yeah, you just ate my clothes, man.
No.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sure you can make it up to me.
Oh, let me see what. Let me see. Oh yeah. Let me see what I can do for you here. Since you shared some snacks with me. What do I got here? I carry this around with me. Sometimes I want to eat the thing, but I don't. So let's see. He has. Let's say. Well, I got one of these things here. It's kind of like a ball, but it don't roll so good. And he, between his claws, he kind of reaches down in a pouch and holds out something just big enough for your hand. It is green and it's got a yellow stripe around its middle, and there is the symbol for radiation on it.
Yo, George, you want to grab that and check it out?
Yeah, I'll see what this is.
Yeah. So if you consider Bogo Jort's about that tall, now picture Bogo Jort's holding a soda can. So yeah, it's pretty big. But basically, the writing on the side, it says something like "energy grenade." Nice. This is that gonna make things right.
That'll do.
All right. Well, I'm sorry about that. I'm flying along. I thought I'd land and I'd have a snack. I should have asked you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, I know how it goes. You didn't see us, and I'm sure you was hungry and whatnot. But I tell you what,
fella gets hungry.
Anything else? If you're flying around and you see anything else, if you wouldn't mind letting us know, that'd be most helpful.
All right, all right. Well, if I bump into you out here, I'll do my best. I'll do my level best. Y'all have a good evening now. And he takes to wing, majestically flying away, as Yexel are.
I'll wave.
And in case the audience, yeah, he flies. Let's see. He kind of swoops down for a farewell and screeches. Roll initiative. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's laser beam, an 8-die laser eye attack on you. No, he's far enough away. He flies away. So, yeah, the Yexel ate a lot of cloth out of the front of that store.
Bogo will just walk in the building and kind of start poking around.
Alrighty. Does anyone else wish to switch or wish to search the building, or is it just Bogo?
I'm just keeping guard, keeping an eye out.
All right. The guy who doesn't want any loot. All right.
Yeah, I'll take whatever Bogo finds that I find interesting, and he won't say anything.
Exactly. I didn't. Yeah, Doomsword's like, I didn't say I didn't want any loot. I said I'm going to search for
The
it.
guy's like 9 inches tall, man. I'll just step on him if he has a problem.
He picks Bogo up by the ankle and just starts shaking him.
It was one of my favorite industrial electro albums from the 90s. Was 9 Inch Bogo. All right, let's see. So if you like to spend a turn or so searching, there is a poor condition bicycle, flat tires, flat and rotted tires, bent frame. Is 407 doing anything?
Yeah, I'll search where we're at. So see if there's anything else.
Ironically, leaning against the wall next to the bicycle is a bicycle pump in very good condition.
I will use it.
There is. Well, what are you going to use it for?
On the tires on the bikes.
Oh no, they're rotted. They're dry rotted.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Well,
you just.
I'll keep the bike pump.
Okay.
I mean, we never know what kind of tire we're gonna get.
All right. Under a counter here, there is a shotgun in poor condition.
We'll take that along with us. We might find some use to trade it.
Alrighty.
Is there any shells or anything like that?
You don't see anything. Let me see. You don't see anything of note as far as ammunition.
Okay. So it might be just a really heavy-duty stick that we can slug things with.
Okay, and finally, in the back room, much like you found in the first settlement that you encountered, there is a large white machine that looks to be in pretty poor shape. Lots of pieces of paper scattered around on the floor. There's a couple of drawers. There's the same arrangement of push buttons on there. So it looks like the one you saw in the settlement, but other than that, there's nothing.
So do we know what the last one did?
I think we do. So this has a lid that lifts?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Yeah, I'll lift the lid and look at it.
Okay, there is a single piece of paper that kind of is disturbed and sort of flutters when you do that.
I'll take a look at it. I'll pick it up.
Alrighty, hang on just 1 second. I need to open up my notes here. Okay. So, yeah, this looks like it was created with a machine, and at the top, printed very clearly in black ink, it says in the language of the ancients, but that is now the common tongue. It says rules of Fight Club. First rule, you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule, you do not talk about Fight Club. Third rule, if someone says stop or goes limp or taps out, the fight is over. Fourth rule, only 2 guys to a fight. Fifth rule, 1 fight at a time. Sixth rule, no shirt, no shoes. Seventh rule, fight goes on as long as they have to. Eighth rule, if this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. Utterly perplexing.
Okay.
You have no idea what that means.
I'll roll it up and put it in my my pouch or whatever.
Seems to be some sort of strange combat society that the ancients had founded. This is your life, and it's ending 1 combat round at a time.
I think this is
Nice.
a large high chair. So what you do is you lift that lid and you sit on the top of it. But you can't wear clothes when you do that. That's what I think this is. But, that's just me.
Okay, that seems kind of an odd thing, but
All right, you're as you are standing there trying to convince the medbot to photocopy her bare butt with a machine that has no obvious power source. You guys deserve a wandering encounter just for that. So
I was trying to convince the whole group. I wasn't just talking to the medbot. But
fair enough.
Whatever.
Yeah,
same penalty, I guess, applies.
yeah. You take a minute to stop listening to your internal your internal monitoring systems. Quit like firing off alarms about the radiation damage for a second, and let's see. What do you encounter? Pardon me a moment. And we'll probably end up ending on a cliffhanger because I see it's 11:15 Eastern Standard. So we're going to wrap up here shortly, which we went a little over because, we were waiting for folks to get in. Which was my fault, by the way. Well, somewhat my fault. No, it's mostly my fault. It's entirely my fault. All right, you hear the growling and sort of nasally voices of an unknown number of batters approaching your building.
oh yay.
So there are batters on the march towards you, and we will pick up next week at that exact spot and see what they have to say about the situation. So, as always, I want to thank our audience for hanging out with us tonight and having fun. I want to thank my wonderful Friday Night Gamble World group for sticking around. And I will be back on Monday. We'll probably have some more. We're going to look at the demi-human deities to kind of soothe ourselves of all the rules weirdness of Unearthed Arcana. We're going to look at demi-human deities in Unearthed Arcana, and we'll probably take a look at the unarmed combat system after that, but then just call it over with. It's causing a colic. It's causing a colic amongst folks to continue on this deep dive of Unearthed Arcana. Tuesday, we'll be back with some first edition AD&D Let's Play. Wednesday, we will be playing some Classic Traveler, I promise, this Wednesday. And Sissy is in that. Of course, Doomsword is in the Tuesday night AD&D, and Wednesday Traveler. Also, Tucker Todd will be in on that. Thursday, who knows what I'll do Thursday? I have the whole night in front of me. So, and then Friday, we'll be right back here finding out what batters do. So until then, y'all have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Now, don't forget, I will be releasing short videos because we've still got our Dice Advent calendar. So this weekend, I will release a couple of videos for the next 2 days of the Dice Advent calendar. Until then, be good, but especially be good to each other. I love you all. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Bye-bye.